What's going on YouTube? Super Insane 18 here, and I am bringing you a deck profile for Zoodiac Tri-Brigade. This is my top 8 deck profile from my locals yesterday. We had about 35 people. Unfortunately, I did lose in top 8, but it was to a very good player, so I'm not too upset about it. Let's go ahead and jump right into the deck profile. I'm just going to try to power through it and do a little bit of discussion after the fact. Alright, so kicking things off, we have the Zoodiac monsters, which is a very small engine. We are just playing 3 of them. It is going to be Rapier, Ram, and Whiptail. Then moving into the Tri-Brigades, we actually play 3 of every Tri-Brigade monster. So we have 3 Nerval, 3 Karis, 3 Kit, and we have 3 Fractal. Now, again, I'm going to do a little bit of a discussion later on. The only one of these that really can be cut would be maybe one of the Karis, but we will get into that later. Rounding out the monsters, we do have a couple of hand traps. We have Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, and then the last hand trap we play is Dee Crow. Now, Dee Crow's only really in here because it is a wing beast and can synergize with the rest of the archetype, but honestly, it didn't really do too much, so I will probably end up changing it. Moving on to the spells, we have 2 one-ofs, being Zoodiac Barrage and Called by the Grave. Pretty self-explanatory. The Barrage is part of the Zoo engine, and Called by the Grave is just a phenomenal card. We have 2 Pot of Desires as well, and then rounding out the spells, we have 3 copies of Fire Formation Tenki. These are really good just because they can get you your Zoo cards as well as your Fractal. Again, pretty self-explanatory. Now, it is a very trap-heavy deck, so we do run 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. We run 3 copies of Solemn Strike. We run 3 Torrential Tribute. And we run 3 Tri-Brigade Revolt. So that is it for the main deck. Let's go ahead and go into the extra. Alright, now for the extra deck, we do run Zoodiac Borbo, Chalkanine, Tiger Mortar, and Drident. And then the last card that's technically part of our Zoo package is the Divine Arsenal AA Zeus Sky Thunder. These cards are really only makeable with the Zoo portion of the deck, and it is part of the combo to completely load the grave, which I will show you guys. Moving on to our Link monsters, we play 1 copy of Almirage, 1 copy of Ancient Warrior Oath Double Dragon Lords, 1 Axis Code Talker, and 1 Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess. That is it for the non-Tri-Brigade Link monsters. These are just pretty generic ones. The Almirage is able to allow us to go into like Nerval or Kit and get their effects if we don't have anything else. That way we can add something else to our hand. And then the other ones, again, pretty self-explanatory. Double Dragon is just really good. It can bounce any card. Axis Code is what swings for game, and Appaloosa helps you live through your opponent's turns. Then we have 1 copy of Farigite, 2 copies of the new one, Bear Brum. Then we have 1 copy of Rugal, and rounding it out, we have 2 copies of Shureg the Ominous Omen. And that is it for the extra deck. Let's go ahead and move on to our side. Alright, now for the side deck, it is a little bit experimental, so nothing here is set in stone. It is just what I tried out for yesterday's tournament. We have 3 Artifact Lancia. This is mostly for the mirror match, but there are a lot of things that banish in the format. 1 copy of Pankratops, because Pankratops is just a very oppressive card, in all honesty. 3 copies of Alpha the Master of Beasts. This is essentially the Beast Warrior or the Beast Warrior Wing Beast version of Kaijus. If you're playing Tri-Brigade, I would 100% recommend these over any type of Kaiju. Then we run double Twin Twisters, just because we do have a very back row heavy locals, so I wanted to make sure that we had enough in there to kind of clear it out, which is why we also played 3 copies of Lightning Storm, just so that we can get rid of a bunch if we need to. And then finally, we have our 3 copies of Forbidden Droplet. And that is rounding out the side deck. Let's go ahead and talk about the deck a little bit. So let's talk about the Zoodiac package. Now, the Zoodiac package is something that is kind of hit or miss. The biggest downfall of it is the fact that you have to dedicate 5 slots of your extra deck just to play these 4 main deck cards, which can be a little unfortunate, but let's go ahead and go into a basic combo really quick, just so that you guys can see why it's so good. So if we are able to get into our Rapier, we can normal the Rapier and use its effect to send Ram to the graveyard. Then what we can do is we can overlay the Chalkanine over the Rapier, and we can use its effect, detaching, to bring back our Ram. Then what we want to do is overlay the Trident on top of the Chalkanine, use the Trident effect to destroy the Ram, which will activate the Ram effect, which can then re-summon the Chalkanine because it was destroyed. Then we want to put the Tiger Mortar on top of the Trident. Using the Tiger Mortar, we want to reattach. I usually do the Ram just because it actually has a good effect if they stop you here. But I would reattach the Ram to the Chalkanine, and then Chalkanine, thankfully, is not a hard once per turn, meaning we can use it one more time and bring back our Trident. Let me go ahead and see if I can zoom out just a little bit here. No, it doesn't look like we can, but that's fine. So now that we have all 3 of these on the field, we can take our Tiger Mortar and our Chalkanine. We can link summon those into the copy of Friedrich, and then if we have any of the Tri-Brigade monsters in our hand, the Friedrich can summon it, and we now have a total of 4 Beast Warriors in the grave to use our Tri-Brigade's effect. Now, talking about Tri-Brigade Revolt, Tri-Brigade is suffering from something that I'm going to call Spiral Syndrome, which is they have a very good card, but they weren't good because they didn't have a way into that card. But now that we have the Tri-Brigade Bearbrum, the Rampant Rampager, that pretty much fixes the issue. The fact that we are able to just search into this Revolt is absolutely incredible, because for those of you that don't know, Revolt is essentially a return from different dimensions specific for Beast, Beast Warrior, and Winged Beast monsters, and immediately after you resummon the amount that you want, which can be as many as you have space for, you can link summon into a Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast, usually going into the Shureg, the Ominous Omen, which is a non-target banish pretty much whenever you want, since it's happening off the activation of the trap. Now, the cool part about this, and the reason why I opt to run 2 of the Bear Blooms instead, or Bear Brum, they changed the name, instead of just 1, is a lot of times using any of the Tri-Brigade's effects, you're not going to be able to hard make the Bear Brum. You're going to have to use the effect to banish 2 and summon it. But the good thing is if you have a second one that you can hard make later in the game, or if you do manage to have enough resources to hard make it on turn 1, you are able to then resummon it off of the Revolt. And if you're able to resummon it off of the Revolt, so let me just grab one more Beast Warrior. Let's say that I activate the Revolt, I hard made the Bear Brum, I summon out Bear Brum, Fractal, and Ram, right? Now I can take these 3 and link them into my link 4 Shureg, which the Shureg will then get the banish, but the important part is that the Bear Brum will search me another copy of Revolt, meaning that I'll be able to do it all over again. Alright, and now the last thing that I really want to talk about as far as the build goes is one thing that I've been considering doing is dropping one of the Karases and then dropping one of the Bearbrum, because the extra deck is really tight in the Zoodiac variant, so there really isn't anything else that I can cut. For a Wind Barrier statue and the Samorg Bird of, I think, Divinity, or whatever it's called, the Link 3 that will summon the statue. Now, that's pretty much just a good backup play. If you get stopped on your turn 1, you can usually still end on the Barrier statue and some traps, which will prevent your opponent from being able to really play the game. So it is something that I will probably test overall, but that is definitely something that is worth considering for the main deck. And then the last thing that I want to show you is a 2.5 card combo. So what you need is Rapier, or any way into Rapier like your Tenki, a card that you don't care about so that you can put it back on the bottom of the deck, and then you can have either Nerval, Kit, or Fractal. So let's go ahead and show you the combo with the Nerval. So what you're going to do is the same starting play that I showed you earlier. You're going to take the rapier, you're going to use it to send the Ram to the grave, and then you're going to do the chain of events that will get you 3 of your Zoodiacs on the field. So I'm just going to go ahead and rush through this without really explaining it, since I've explained it already. All right, and I did move it around a little bit just because I'm limited on camera room, but really what you want to do is just make sure that the Trident is in the rightmost zone that you have. You then take the Chalconine and the Tiger Mortar, and you link them away into the Farigite. Let me try and get this more in frame for you guys. I will figure out the camera situation better for future deck profiles. But now what you do is you use the Farigite. You are going to summon out the Nerval that you had. Like I said, it could be either the Nerval, the Kit, or the Fractal. You are then going to use the Nerval and banish all 4 of the Zoodiacs that you have in your grave, and you are going to use them to summon Shuraig. Now, here you are not actually going to use the Shuraig's effect. You are going to use it for the Graveyard effect, however, because what you're going to do now is take the Nerval and the Shuraig, and you're going to link them away, and you are going to hard make the Bearbrum. Now, you get both the effects of the Shuraig and the Nerval to get you a search. The Nerval will usually send or search you a Fractal, but it's very important here that the Shuraig actually search you your copy of Whiptail. Now, what you can do is you can take the Farigite and the Bearbrum. You're going to link those away into an Appaloosa. So now you do have a 2-material Appaloosa for your negates. The Bearbrum is going to activate. If you want to use the Farigite, you can, but it is not mandatory. You are going to use the Bearbrum, and you're going to add yourself a copy of Tri-Brigade Revolt. This is where the half card comes into play. You have to take that then and put it back on the bottom of the deck. So now you have, at the very bare minimum, these 3 cards that you were able to search, plus 2 other cards that you started your hand with. Now you're going to take the Whiptail, you're going to put it under the Trident, so now you have 2 negates and a pop. You're going to set your Revolt, which will get you another banish on your opponent's turn, plus whatever other cards you had. Well, there you guys had it. Hopefully you enjoy my top 8 deck profile. I will bring you an updated one once I tweak it a little bit and go to more locals. This locals was one of the first times that I've actually played Yu-Gi-Oh! In person since the start of the pandemic. The last time I actually played an event was back in February. We had a YCS 3v3, and other than that, I've just kind of been messing around online and playing with myself at home. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe, comment for decks that you would like to see in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.